book nerds, this is Gabby, and today we're talking about bisexuals. Happy Pride, everyone! I hope you're having a wonderful month. This year, I thought I'd recommend you some bisexual books. So if you don't know, yeah, girls are bisexual. And I feel like I've been seeing a lot of books with bi rep recently that I want to share with you. I have 10. I really love reading books with bisexual characters, whether they end up with people from opposite sex or the same sex. It just feels like I'm seen. I don't know. It's a beautiful feeling. So I thought, let me share some of you. Maybe you'll like some of these. Maybe you already read them. Recommend to me your favorite ones in the comments down below. But let's kick it off. Let's start with one that is like near and dear to my heart because I feel like, I don't know, I just felt so seen. This is Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. So in this book, we follow a girl who grew up in the library and I don't really remember what this book is about. Anyway, she gets into this adventure with the sorcerer and he's a bisexual. So the main love interest is bisexual. And the reason why this book made me feel special is that the bisexual character was like still acknowledged to be bisexual and all that, even though he was getting into this romantic relationship with a person from opposite gender. That felt nice to see because as a bisexual who had never been in a relationship with a girl, because I've only ever been in one relationship with a boy, I felt like, it made me feel more valid because sometimes I feel like people can have this perception that you're not a real or valid bisexual and the stories told are not real representation unless it's a queer relationship. Relationship still can be queer because one person's bisexual, but whatever. I mean, like, relationship perceived as straight because it's a man or woman. I feel like sometimes they can be overlooked and not considered bi, and this one, I don't know, I felt seen, I felt nice. I mean, I've read books like that since, like plenty of them, but that I think was one of the first that made me feel like, oh, that's me. So that's why I'm recommending it. It's a really good book, a really fun standalone story that I really enjoyed. It's high fantasy, really quick, nice read, and if you need something adventure-packed, there you go. Next up we have You Made a Fool Out of Beauty with your... No, that's wrong. You made a fool out of death with your beauty by Akwaeke Emezi. So this is a new release by Akwaeke Emezi, and this book we follow a woman whose partner died a couple years back in a car accident, and she's trying to get over his death and kind of move on with her life, and she meets a man who's gone through similar experiences and they try to heal together. Both of the protagonists, or the protagonist and the love interest, they are both bisexual, or I keep saying bisexual. I feel like sometimes, books don't particularly, especially fantasy, they don't like specify, oh, this character is bisexual, not pansexual, for example. So I'm just gonna say that they're bisexual here. So if it's canon that they're not and there's something else, please let me know. But anyway, in this book, yeah, both of the protagonists are bisexual and have been in relationships, both with men and women. It's really cool to see. This is a pretty beautiful story about, kind of a taboo romance and a difficult situation that leads to two people who are hurt healing. I found it really beautiful and I would recommend overall. Next up we have Take a Hint, Dani Brown by Talia Hibbert. So I believe in this one, the female protagonist is bisexual. So basically we follow Dani Brown, who is a go-getter woman in STEM, very like voracious young lady, and she loves sex, she loves being intimate with people, and she has this like little crush on this guy called... I don't know why I said I knew what it was called. I don't know, this guy. And he is an ex-football player, American football, I think. And he now has a charity and he raises money for mental health issues for athletes, and he is a security guard at a university, and he's super hot, but he's more like a relationship guy, whereas Dani's more like one night hookup or no strings attached kind of gal, so they never got together. They have to do this fake relationship thing to support his charity. It's beautiful. It really is beautiful. I love this story. It's spicy and it's just so good, and it makes me feel really warm and happy inside, and the smile was good. The smile was good is all I'm gonna say. But yeah, it filled me with joy. But it was a beautiful story about like people healing and growing as well. And I love Talia Hibbert's books because I feel like every time, at least in the Brown Sisters series, the people in a relationship just have so much other shit going on, and they kind of work through that, and that's how they improve their relationship and overcome the third act breakup by actually growing as human beings, which I think is beautiful and it makes me happy. Next up we have Girl, Woman, Other by Bernardine Evaristo. I tried to combine the name and the surname. Bernardine Evaristo. So in this one, it's a special case because this is kind of like a collection of short stories, except they're all interconnected. So the whole premise is it's about Black women and their experiences. For example, in one it'd be a mother and her life and her relationship. The next story would be the daughter of the mother and the daughter's relationships, and everyone's pretty much connected, but you get to see so many different stories, you know, of bisexuals, of lesbians, of trans people, of straight people. You know, it's a beautiful, beautiful exploration of what it means to be a Black woman and how many sides there are, how many versions of that there are. And it was such a gorgeous, beautiful story. I absolutely love this book. I need to reread it. I read it as an audiobook, and the beginning was very confusing because I didn't know it was like multiple stories, but it was so gorgeous, so beautiful. I will die by this book. That is so heartbreaking and beautiful, and you just get so many perspectives that you would never think to read from. So I highly recommend this book, both for the buy rep and just in general because it's amazing. Next up we have A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. So in this book it's a retelling of the or like a reimagining of Dracula's bride. So we follow a main character who used to be a bride of Dracula, and this is like her writing letters to him with a perspective. The main character is one of the wives, but there's another wife and another husband as well, so there's like a polyamorous relationship going on. But the way they explored it was really interesting. Like the main character, her sexuality, but also like she has such a mothering nature to her, and just like how that was all explored was beautiful. And it's kind of a story about healing from grief and trauma and abuse, and how the main character kind of broke out of that cycle. It's really, really good story. It's very interesting, like as like take on Dracula and vampires, which I really love, so definitely check it out. Next up we have Ace of Spades by Faridah Àbíké-Íyímídé. So in this one we follow, it's kind of like a retelling of Gossip Girl with like a Get Out twist. We follow two teenagers, one's a boy and one's a girl, and the girl's called Chimaka, I think, and she is bisexual and the boy is gay. And the two of them are Black students in this very prestigious private school. I think they're the only Black students. Yeah, they are the only Black students in this whole school. They start getting these like threatening text messages, like Gossip Girl style. That's like, I'm gonna expose all of your secrets kind of thing. And it's them like dealing with that and figuring out what's happening, and also connecting because they were not friends beforehand. So it's kind of them trying to like come together, figure out who's doing this to them and why. It's really good. It's quite tense, very tense actually, very disturbing. It's got definitely political messaging, all of that, and it's really well done. And it's a very interesting bisexual relationship. I actually not remember. I think she might. Boy definitely has a romance going on. I think she might as well. I don't remember. I think so, but if she does, I think it's with a girl. Next up we have Ace of Shades. We had Ace of Spades, and now we have Ace of Shades by Amanda Foody. So this one is a high fantasy. We follow a girl whose name's Anne, and she is like a proper lady. She's about to enter society, and her mother goes missing, so she goes to the city of Sin and connects with Levi, who's like one of the gang lords there, and they try to find her mother. So Levi is bisexual. He's the main love interest, and he does get in a relationship with both the main character, who's a girl, but also with a boy. And I love the exploration of that. I love how it was treated on equal footing. I mean, obviously it wasn't because obviously this is a love story between Anne and Levi, so they're gonna be like the end game, so we knew that, but I did love how respectful he was with the other relationship. I liked exploring with bisexuality. It was also kind of similar to Sorcery of Thorns when I really connected with the bisexual character, and I felt like their story is kind of similar. I mean, not similar, but their experience maybe, I don't know. I felt something resonate with me. So I really loved that, and overall this is like one of my all-time favorite books. I read it twice. I keep telling people to read it. I don't think people are reading it, so you know, check it out because it's just so good. Next up we have Iron Widow by Xiran Zhao. It's a retelling of the rise to power of the first and only female emperor in China's history. So we have Zetian, and she is in this futuristic sci-fi kind of spin on our world. We have these mechas, which are massive robots, like things like Power Rangers, and we need a man and a woman to fuel those. There's lots of fights in Spain, lots of overthrowing of patriarchy, that kind of stuff. And the main character actually gets in a polyamorous relationship with two men, and obviously each of the men is bisexual. I think she might be as well, although I'm not 100% on that one. She does not get in a relationship with a woman, but the two men are in a relationship with her as well. So it's a really beautiful exploration of a polyamorous relationship in a YA novel, which I don't think I've ever seen before, and I had so much fun with it. It's such a good book. I'm very excited for the sequel, and the cover is really cool. And yeah, I'm curious for the cover of the sequel actually. Next up we have the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. So in this one we follow 3 perspectives. Basically in this world, people develop this special power to like kind of control seasons, and once in a while one of them will like erupt and create this 5th season, which is kind of like a blight, and you know, nothing can grow, and it's not a good time basically. And we follow a mother who has lost her son and is looking for her daughter, a young girl who's discovering she has these kinds of powers, and a warrior in this military. One of the perspectives is a polyamorous relationship. So again, the two men in that relationship are definitely bisexual, and I'm not sure about the main character herself, but this was so good. It's just amazing story crafting. Everyone says it's confusing. It is, but just kind of go with it. I did figure out why it's confusing very early on, so that kind of helped me get over that confusion. But if you think like, you know, what would be logical with the way this book is set up, you probably will get there and then you won't even be confused. But anyway, this was so good. I would highly recommend. I want to read the sequel very soon. And the relationship was again so well done, and it was such an interesting one because it was like, it wasn't really 3 people on equal footing in terms of the emotions they feel for each other like in Iron Widow, but more like, I love you, you love this person, and we're in this like interesting relationship and an interesting dynamic here. So it's very, very cool. And the last book I want to recommend to you is Dark and Hollow Star by Ashley Shuttleworth. So this is an urban fantasy, I think it's YA. We follow this world where the Fae are real, and like Fae are like underground, you know, like magical creatures, whatever, and then the gods, like old Greek gods and stuff like that, are also real. They're even like older than the Fae, and basically half humans start getting killed off, and the two main characters try to figure out why. So we have Nausicaa, who's one of the female characters. She's lesbian. Arlo is, who's the other female character, is pansexual. Then we have 2 other men who are kind of like main characters as well, have a subplot. So Vehan is bisexual, and then Aurelian is gay. So we have quite a diverse core group going on, and this book is so good. It gave me all the nostalgic feelings for urban fantasy, so I highly recommend. The sequel's out. The cover is disgusting, but I'm sure the inside's beautiful. I've not read it yet. But here you go, 10 books with bisexual rep that really spoke to me. I thought it was good representation. I felt seen by them. Let me know what's your favorite book you read with bisexual protagonist, or maybe love interest. I would love to know if you're bisexual yourself, especially, like, you know, let me know what your favorite books are. Let me know what other kind of recommendations you'd love to see, if there's anything. I hope you enjoyed this list. I hope I didn't tell you only the obvious choices. But thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, if you could comment, like, and subscribe, I really, really appreciate it. It really helps me out. But that's it from me, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!